Meeting the demands of modern day content creation. That is something that I think is on the top of all of our minds. So I'm here today, Victor Miranda, your host for today, founder of Vision Maker Productions, and I'm here with Derlis. You'd like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Derlis. I am a DP for Vision Maker Productions here. I love it here. I do. I do. I do. I do.
And that's because I paid him.
Absolutely. Oh, that's how it make me smile.
See, I know how to keep you around. Oh man, no, he's been a great friend too, and for a long time, and
Likewise.
we've been doing a lot of great things here. I
Yeah.
feel like in our journey here. So one of the things I think we can just roll off of the bat is you've been now taking a deep dive and also making your obviously content with us and with different things for our clients, but also on your personal page, shop by Derlis on Instagram and other sites.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, self-plug. Check me out.
yeah, check him out. Give him a follow. But yeah, kind of like I remember we had this conversation, and then you really took a deep dive to eliminate everything from your Instagram and start
did.
new and kind of redesign. So talk a little bit about making that decision and
Right.
about what influenced that and how you decide to approach it.
All right. So first off, that might happen again real soon. But secondly, the reason why I did that is just because currently your Instagram is a part of your portfolio, I should say. Like that is front and center with a lot of people in my business doing music videos and doing like just commercials and business wise. They want to see, what you can just do for yourself. And it's something important now, not to say that should be like the only thing about yourself that you showcase to clients, because that's another thing, website for yourself and your business as well as other things. But social media is important in that, right? Because you can't just overlook it anymore. It's there and people ask for it. And if you're not prepared for the opportunity, you're just going to miss out.
No, and I think you're 100% right. Like a lot of people, I think, are catching on to that whole premise that like our online presence, our social media pages, are very powerful in the sense of being a portfolio and everything. I remember years ago, people used to talk about companies looking into your Facebook
Right.
as
Right.
if like they're gonna find like you go partying every weekend or whatever.
Right, right,
And that
right.
was like the weird thought that like the companies are stalking your Facebook. But now companies are stalking your Facebook because they want to see like what you actually do, are you quality work, especially in our industry.
Right.
Like we're like all about that. So it's very much an effective business card, especially as a photographer or videographer. So I agree with that. But now I think something that we both share, we're pretty phlegmatic. And for people who don't know that, that means we get pretty tired pretty quickly. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
do well with like routine in that sense.
Yeah.
We're kind of little sporadic project to project. So it makes something like constant content creation, which I feel like is like the expectation now is like you need
It's
to
a
post
job,
like
bro.
you need
It's
to post
a
like 4 times a day,
job.
right?
It's 100% a job, and
Yeah.
it takes the fun out of it. And you have to find ways that you can just rejuvenate that whole creativity on such a quick scale, where it's like, because this is what gets me paid. This is what, like, it's taking care of myself and my family and
So
everything else.
how do you personally deal with that pressure? How do you personally handle that thought process? Given your temperament, given your
Yeah.
personality,
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, it's just health, bro. Just keep yourself healthy. Like, I got to go to the gym, just clear my mind and just like try to breathe it out and be around creative people. I think that's another giant thing that you have to be around. If it's nice to have the ideas, but once you play with a band I guess in a metaphor kind of way, you really start to just put out more ideas more frequently, just because you're in tune with other people, and that just gets your juices just flowing. And then before you know it, like that's why I like working in a film crew, because I'm not the only one just thinking of everything, and that's why I always, when it comes to me, I always have to have a meeting before I even meet a client or anything like that, because it's so important for you to like see the vision, and then like maybe there's a little gold when somebody has a different idea, and then you can use that.
So you would say for you, it's important to establish breaks for yourself. Establish a personal time, meditation time, whatever it may be. Like you said,
Yeah.
the gym,
Yeah.
and it's also community. It's huge in the sense of like you realize for you, you're most productive when you're around people, when you
Yeah.
can feel others' energies and others' inputs.
Mm-hmm.
So because you know
Moonchild.
that you put yourself in those environments because that's how you can be productive and actually put content
Yeah.
instead of trying to burrow yourself. Think about I need to do something every single day.
And that drains me. That kills me. I mean, like when I'm around people that are just like, we're all there to make something special, something that like really touches other people. It's like it becomes so much bigger than even yourself, and that's something like that I kind of like have to live for at this point, because being selfish doesn't like
Yeah.
give me back anything, honestly. At this
So
point.
so I know you've been having also a lot of recent success on your reels. I know they've been going up into
yeah.
4 figures, even 5
I
figures.
hit 1 million, bro.
You hit
I
a
hit
million.
1 million. I
That's
hit a
right.
million.
That's right. So you're even in the 7 figures with some of
Yeah.
them. And but with that growth, though, I realized like on your way up, a lot of people think you need to have this formula. You need to have this like specific time of day, specific time of the week, everything
to hit the viralness.
Like
just
to hit the viral.
Just do these
Look,
little things, A, B,
but
C, and then you got it.
But what I notice you do is like, if I look at your posting, there's no real rhyme and reason when you post, how often
not
you
yet.
post, or anything.
Yeah.
Like, but you're gaining traction. And I think that goes to, I think there's a fundamental concept that I think so many people overlook because they become so legalistic, is in the sense that like doing something and just doing it consistently, but like you got to learn to be okay with being consistently inconsistent.
Oh, that's something new right there.
But you think of it, it's like
yeah.
you are consistently putting out content, which you are, but you're inconsistently putting out. Like you're not putting too much of a worry. Like you said, you're getting yourself into these groups, you're finding inspiration, and when it hits, and it's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not worrying so much of the pigeonhole, which I remember in the beginning you were a little stressed about, like trying to get the formula down, trying to get the pattern,
Find the algorithm, but there's no sense to the algorithm. And we're speaking on, at least for me in this sake, is just Instagram and its sake. Facebook has its own thing, and then TikTok is just unknown. But like this is just me reading into a lot of the information out there within YouTube, within just blogs, within anything, just because it's important within our field to understand what makes something successful, like outside from like just money pursuit or something like that, but what makes something cool for people, like like you see
What holds
something,
their attention,
like that's just like, oh, like it could be like a 5-second clip, but it's so dope in that 5 seconds that you're like, wow. And art is whatever art is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like whatever you want to feel, like if it makes you feel something, then I think that's what art is.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I have such a similar feeling too when it comes to music.
Right.
So I am a musician as well.
Tell
And
him.
No. Oh, and you are too, actually.
No, you don't know about that.
You can actually find him on
Yeah,
Spotify,
yeah.
but that's a different story for a different time.
Right.
But I feel very similarly when it comes to making music, and I think it's the same with any creative endeavor. Like for me, it's important to have your voice, but I think people think that your output needs to look a certain way. Like in music, some people think like, I am an alternative rock band, so all my songs need to be a alternative rock song. Whereas I don't like pigeonholing creativity into like a category or into a name.
Nobody does. No
Because
artist does.
no
Excuse
real
me. But
yeah.
when you start to like, oh, I need to fit this so I get it to the right people, that's where it becomes
It's
important.
a little different.
Yeah.
But I think you can, when you think of it that way, you retain your voice.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can hear, like, for example, like the way I think of it is you can hear my band songs and we do go soft. like a soft rock, but we can also go really heavy, and then we can also go into a punk feel. Like these are different genres across the scape, but I feel like we have that fundamental same sound where we sound like the same band, just doing a little bit of a different style. And I feel like there's a lot of content creators, like some really prolific ones that can do that in the sense that they're putting out so many different types of content, but it's them putting it out, so you get that authentic feel. So that's when, like, that's, I think, a good example of them tailoring a piece of content to a certain demographic,
Right.
but still have their unique voice. And I think too many young creators kind of get lost in that.
You know, I saw a meme about this, and it was hilarious because it was just like, it was an animation of just like a cartoon drawing of just basically this punk show where you would see a bunch of people like that would dye their hair different colors, or like some pop show.
Yeah.
But in it, it's like, are you really an individual if you're doing that? If everybody's doing it,
yeah.
So like, it just goes with it all that, like, as much as you want to separate things, there's things that tie us together, and again, within those ties there's separation, and within those separations there's ties. It's like, you know, just yin and yang, and just balancing itself, of just like the world and the universe personally, like how sometimes we think like it's doing something, but it's really also, there's a reaction behind that.
It's like, it's funny. I feel like there's two opposing truths in music when you're trying to like make an original song, quote unquote, right? But there's only the fixed amount of notes to pick from.
Ooh.
So there's you got your scale. And that is it.
Yeah.
You every single musician is working with the same scale, yet song after song, day after day, year after year. You look at your Spotify playlist and you can't listen to the whole thing. It's impossible for any single person to listen to everything that is musical out there. And this has been hundreds of years of people making music with the same notes on the same scales, the same 7 keys, like you said. But that's what I mean. It's like you said, we all work with the same material, but we still have us. And that's a unique voice. And I heard it recently. Someone says, like, we all have something to share. We're all unique in that sense. And I think one thing, a personal axiom I always had was that all your personal combination of life experiences to you specifically gives you a small little tool belt that only you can relate to specific people through specific experiences that somebody like next to you, like you can relate to someone in a certain way that I could never, period, and vice versa. And we all have these unique tool belts that are like customized to work with different people. And I think that's just how we're made. And I think that applies to our creativity as well.
And this is just to bring it back to the content and that's why, like, I'll be honest, there's certain clients that I push to other photographers or other videographers, just not because I don't think I can achieve
what they need.
But more so it's just like they would vibe better with that other person, or like, again, fit those keys, or fit that personality better than me. And it's like, it's something hard that I've had to learn, and luckily you can only do this when you start knowing yourself as like your own work, and like what you will take and everything like that. Because now I personally would not take certain jobs because I'd rather save my time for the jobs that I do want, and I'm able to take that are just like more fruitful and more like enjoyable in my experience when it comes to like music videos, or just generally like a commercial. Like, I get to do these passion jobs while at the same time, just like, because I found stability, which a lot of people in our creative field unfortunately have to go through such a struggle. And I feel for every single one of them. At 27, it was probably my worst age. I'll probably say that, but you know, it was like 2 years later I met you. So like then it was another
right before,
2 more years or 3 more years until we're here.
Journey, right?
Yeah. So it's a journey that, like, I can't say your experience isn't going to be worse than mine, because everybody's experience is different. But I will say, like, if you're able to make it past that, and it's going to take a lot of grit, and it's just going to be harsh, but I personally think that anybody can do it. Like, so.
Well, I think what you also described is like you moved from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Because it's like, especially like, I love what you say, and I love that you do that in the sense of clients, because I very much follow this, believe in the same policy. It's like the best thing, like, to serve somebody sometimes is to not be the one serving them, in the sense, because it's like, you may not be able, if you can't offer someone your full capacity,
Right.
like if you think you can do a good job, but for that specific person, someone who can do a better job, not necessarily better than you in skill, but just like really do it justice, because you're
Right.
not going to be able to put your 100% in, because it's either doesn't, it's just not your style. You're going to be putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
Yep.
Not to say you can't execute.
Right.
Because I feel like
Right.
me and you, we can execute a lot. Like, that's the one
course.
thing that we like, we haven't had a problem with. But the problem is like, when you're executing on something that's really not you,
Right.
then
And spreading you thin too.
yeah,
Like,
and it's like you're not able to really give what's best, but somebody that is like, oh, that is their thing, that's their jam, that's their bread and butter. When you pass it to them, the client will be happier, because the person giving to them is really giving their heart and soul into it.
Yep.
Ultimately, over anything you do, and you're also just building up others around you in that sense, and I love
yeah,
that.
helping other people is. I know you
Yeah.
you love doing that, and personally, like, it's such a strange thing, because like people just like thank me like oh, I can't believe you did that for me, thank you, and I was like, I just couldn't do the job, but yeah, I'm happy also to give that time, because you can't take every job. It's just impossible. So like the fruitfulness of that is to give things to people that are also around the same time, around the way, because that'll come back to you too.
Yeah.
Like it always
100%,
does. And
I
it's
think
not-
so.
And it's just like, it's cool. Like in that way, like I know I'm sort of thinking selfishly, but I'm okay with, at the same time, it's just like, because I don't expect it back. So is it selfish? I don't know.
No.
You tell me, Vic.
Well, actually, that's a pure definition of unconditional love, because there is no condition. You are doing an act with no strings attached, no condition of return.
Okay.
But I believe, and there's a great book called The Go-Giver. There is such a thing as called the law of receiving. So in the book, it's basically a story that revolves around these 5 stratospheric laws of success.
Yeah.
It's a great book. I do recommend anyone to get it. But it's
It's in the link.
yeah, right in the link below, right? But basically, the law of receiving is the 5th law, and they explain it this way. It's like, think about it. When you're breathing. Think about giving, and there's so many people that think about giving as like, you're only allowed to give, you're not allowed to receive. Like if you're getting something in return, is it really giving? It's an exchange,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But no, that's not necessarily like, it's, think about breathing. You can't only breathe out. You can only give the earth carbon dioxide. Like eventually you got to breathe in or you die. You
gotta receive.
You can't give with an empty cup. You have to. You can't pour water.
Water. Where's that from? That accent, water.
That's
Boston.
That's like that took
means
a Boston
water.
and a Long Island accent and just
Water over
blended
here,
it,
please.
right? The blender, right? No. So you can't pour water out of an empty glass. So it's like you gotta be able to be open to receiving, and that's the thing. I really believe when you give without condition, when you're gonna get, there's a natural receiving process. It's most of the time it's not immediate, and most of the time it's not in the way you think.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
That's the thing that people get confused. But the big caveat is
ahead.
but the big caveat is like, if you expect something, then all you're doing is just setting yourself up for disappointment. Because no one's obligated. When you give a gift, no one's obligated to even say thank you. But now we're really getting meta on here.
No,
I love the
but
lifetime.
there you guys go. Like some good ideas. But let me ask you, Vic. Like, does content creation drain you when you have to make it, or how do you feel about it?
You know what? I love making things. I just wish I never had to post them. You know what it is? It's like for me, I I like to create. I love being a part of the creating process. And for me, I've worked with a lot of artists and a lot of like painters, and those artists, they talk all the time about the process. They talk all the time about how their artwork is really more about the process, that they can care less about the end product that's at the museum, you know? And I feel like I relate in certain ways. I really love the act of creating. And then I do feel sentimental attention to the final product. But I almost don't care about showing people at all, or really care about what happens to it after I'm done with it. I kind of want to move on to the next thing.
No, but like
But you get what I mean.
Yeah, but it's
so when I sit down to do the posts, for me, it's like I start to go into the text. I need to put the right text. It's like me as a day just to write one post.
Yeah, that's how much you cared about this, though. Tyler, the creator, was saying some shit about this, which it was amazing. He was just like, where people, like, you would make a song, like you put your heart and soul into this song, and then you put it out on a post, and then you put one story out, and then like that's it. Like while he's like, yo, I made an album, and I'm still touring that album a year later. Like because it's just believe in your shit, like. All that shit that you put into it, it's like it's work. So like, do you devalue yourself and your work for just And I think unfortunately a lot of people do that though, because either they're scared or something that's in their minds. Unfortunately,
If I could chime in for a sec, what gets me with the posting stuff is when I have to do, like, I feel icky when I have to put tags and crap like that on a post.
Well, what makes you say that?
Because it feels like because I would love to do it like the way Derlis goes about it, where it's like, I'm so proud of this thing and I'm ready to post it. Then I feel so icky when I have to put tags and all this extra crap on top of it, because it feels like that's like me selling out at that point. I would want it to put it up as it is and not try to do like tags in order to put it in this algorithm or this and that. Right. Where I just wish it was, I post it, and then whoever sees it sees it, and it ends up just a lot of people end up seeing it. But there's
why can't it be that way?
Because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work that way. You kind of have to play. They have built the system where you kind of have to build into that.
But this is sort of what, like, that million views post already, a reel I have. I didn't put no tags. I just put the location and just it did work.
And I'm very jealous of you for doing that.
I'm sure.
Because I don't know what source you're using.
I think the difference though comes out is like you do a little bit of what I do, Eric. It's like you kind of like you put the extra thought into it. You care, because I know you, Eric. You're very passionate about what you do. You love it. You put your heart and soul into something that you're behind. And I've
How did this become Eric's podcast?
Right?
Of course. Of course. I told you we should have gotten the mic away from him.
Oh man, but in the same way, like I do the same in the sense that it's like now you're putting so much thought into it. And I used to think I used to optimize the tags and this and that, and but in reality, it's like. I love your example because what it was, it's like you were okay with being consistently inconsistent, where you weren't really worrying. You were just throwing something up, not letting yourself really dive in, because I know you too can also get really into it,
of course,
overthinking it. Yeah. And that for me, I found that for me, what really helped, what I can do very effectively is stories. Because stories, you film it, and the second you're done filming it, it's posted.
Yeah. Yeah, but, people like that realness of like, what are you actually doing? Like that, I feel like that's what stories is for. As far as posts go, that could vary with anything, but I just feel like that's just the top of the funnel.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
I think ultimately, see, the thing is also, I think that also plays into a misrepresentation of expectation with clients. When clients are looking to,
I give you $2,000, you better give me 1 million views. I'm sorry, bro.
That's not how it works. There is you paying for a quality piece of content.
Right.
But then there's social media growth. Those are two separate things. One quality piece of content guarantees zero growth. I repeat, it will be a powerful asset, a quality piece of content, written well, well designed. That is a good asset to monetize, to use as an ad, this and that. That's something to be reused. You know, when you're looking for quality when you're thinking of video assets. That's your commercials, that's your ads, that's your promos, different things like that. When you're looking to create a social media following, the mindset needs to change a little more
To build
onto
a
the
community,
style.
too.
Yeah, on the community.
Yeah.
It's not so much as the quality of the content, but more as the caliber as far as the content itself and the frequency.
Yep.
I
Consistency.
think the frequency is it's the
Yeah.
frequency on social media is the number one. So it's like when clients come and they're asking I feel like the expectation is that they can get pro commercial level content at 5 posts a week.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And not to say it can't be done. I mean, many top brands, that's what they do. But that's the thing.
But that's top brands.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
but that's
like,
what I'm trying to say with expectations.
Yeah.
They think that is like you're paying someone to just swing a camera around, you know,
Yeah,
and
why
do
am I not as
dance
big as
and this and that.
Converse and Nike and them?
But they also, I feel like there's a lot of like mid-tier and smaller businesses that don't understand that these companies have multi-million-dollar advertising dollars that they're switching from TV commercials and now they're putting into their social medias because that is where marketing going these days, and that's because that's where your audience is.
Yeah. Influencers get a lot of money for just saying things.
Just one thing, you know. So because we've gotten that now a number of times with clients coming in and they're surprised to know that a video is going to be more than just $300. I mean, when the equipment coming into your room is worth over 6 figures almost.
Yeah.
You think that like there's representation, but
Well, not even just the equipment, the experience.
the experience,
that
the
one
years and
has.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like
I feel like
it's
you gotta decide as a business what you're aiming for. You know, in a
course.
sense, it's like because if you're trying to go to a professional level and you're trying to say, I want what I see on TikTok, what you see on TikTok isn't made by professionals, unless you're seeing from top brands. But that is a different conversation.
yeah.
And that is hiring. That's a social media manager. That's what you want to hire, someone with an iPhone that is writing good content for your specific niche. You want to niche down and you want to figure out what works for you. Do you need to put out educational stuff? Are you a dentist? Or you want to educate people on their dental hygiene, and that.
But I
But
will say that there's also the notion that this is towards clients, and I hope they understand this. It's just like, what are you really doing it for?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I think a lot of people lose themselves on this social media race to be on social media and be this, you know, 10 million followers and stuff like that. Brands like Fashion Nova or something like that. When you know you're not even in the same market, let alone like like.
The other thing is like, I think small businesses especially, but it's like really defining who your clientele is and where they actually are.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and there is huge value in getting a properly made video asset, but then you got to utilize and leverage it a certain way.
Yep.
And there's a whole marketing side. So it's like a lot of times now speaking with clients, we're trying to find out their goals. We need to have a clear, defined vision that we can help make.
Oh, is that pun? Is that pun?
It's my
just a
little plug,
little-
just a little side.
But vision makers.
Yeah, but no, but that's really
Get
what
me on that one. Vision makers.
But that's really what the name is about. You know, it's about taking your vision, but you need to have it clear and defined, you know? So that's what I try to do with clients. It's like, what do you really want out of this service? Because that's where it's going to make sense. If you want just a cool looking video, the problem is if you don't know how to utilize it, you're going to have a very expensive file on your computer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the thing is like,
I can't blame them though, because they don't, that's a whole nother portion for them to learn, which is understandably, since they're like, you know, this only started the internet age really, what was it, like
1990s.
Yeah. And
Yeah. And then
like,
the YouTube
yeah.
era really is past 10, 15 years.
right? When
But-
you look at it in that scheme,
Yeah.
people have had to adapt to a
Well,
lot
that's
of
why we
things.
have to. That's why I always try to open dialogue. But I feel like, and you have to learn to manage expectation with clients.
Yeah.
In that sense, to manage the expectation of the demand of content,
Yes.
and to manage, like there is no one way. There's a customized, and it's really about because now, as I heard in one study, we're going from a content based type of marketing, really,
Okay.
where it was like the last like 10 years really like more about just being your face out there. And we're really getting to a data driven, like data and analytics era, in the sense that personalization and customization is key, and that's what the modern day consumer expects. They expect to find the perfect thing for them. They expect to be personalized to them. And that's where I think it's like the thought process really should be going. And that's why I try to hope clients need to be open to the dialogue of finding out that customization, because you need to learn to tailor things, like not just making your niche, but like learn how to really tailor things and customize and really use the data you have to your disposal, because it is easy to find out where your people are, what they're interested in now, and
Right.
this and that.
Right.
So you take advantage of that information.
But to take that advantage of that information, that means you have to gain that information. And that means you have to put out stuff so people can see it, so you can see the
Yeah.
statistics, and then you can do something.
And also, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, go on.
No, I was
Sorry.
gonna say, and also there's the timeline.
Yeah.
These things take time.
Oh, yeah.
Anything with social media, anything with like online marketing like that, it's very rare to have instant results without a present audience. If you already have a present audience, then yes, you can see certain instant results with certain things you can try.
Of course.
But if you're starting from zero, or you just want to start to build and you're pretty much at only 100 followers, 200 followers, it's exponential growth. So in the beginning, things will feel like this, if I'm going into that camera. And then they'll do this. Would you say it was a very similar experience with your reels? Views wise.
Where it just started to raise up more as I started to post more, and like
But like almost exponentially.
Yeah. I mean, like they have been growing in a way where I was just like, wow. Like even if I left one reel just out on the side, like somehow, some way, it just picked up some pace. Again, I can't tell you I understand the algorithm perfectly.
Yeah,
I don't think
I get
anybody
that.
really can. But at the end of the day, it's just like people can feel authentic, and people can feel something like, within your works. And like that, I think you should, that's also where you go to. And I just felt like one of the other things that was sort of just pointed out by Eric was just like, even though like you do have to tag, and you do have to do, or you should tag, or you should do this and all that other stuff. It's like getting something ready, like you put all your work into something, and it's okay to focus on the business. Like, don't feel hard at yourself like that you want this to sell, and like you consider yourself a sellout or something like that. It's like you put a lot of work into your art, like so people can appreciate it, and like and if it touches them, great. And if you can make money off of that, I fully support it. I hate seeing starving artists, because it's like none of us should be starving to begin with.
Yeah, I think to add to that point, as far as like about selling out and stuff like that, I think there's 2 points I have to that actually. So first is like, what do you think you're selling out to? And I'm not trying to direct this actually at you, Eric. I'm just thinking in general, because I
If
feel
you're
like a
asking
lot
me
of people.
too, I can answer.
I mean, maybe we will, but I feel like a lot of
Stay
people.
over there.
I feel like a lot of people share that intimate though. They feel that like I created something. They feel dirty by trying to get views, trying to get whatever
Right,
it is,
right.
trying to
More
get
likes
some,
and subscribes.
yeah,
It feels
trying to get
exploitative.
these, trying to
Yeah.
get
It
this
feels very
motion, trying to
exploitative.
get money for it, whatever it is, but and I understand there's also the choice of if you wanted to put it out there, but if you do decide to go around putting it out there, there's no shame in that, like Derlis was saying. Because the other thing is, at the end of the day, these are merely tools. We do not feel shameful for building a house with a hammer instead of our bare hands. You know, you're using a tool. There's there to use them or not. You know, if you want your art to stand on its own 2 feet and you feel that confident in it that you don't need any tags or anything,
Do
post
it,
it with
bro.
no
Do
caption and
it.
just go for it.
Yeah.
But if you want to give it the best chance it has, you have tools to use. You know, you have, I just say don't obsess over it because it's like money. Money
Yeah.
is just a tool.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's, you can use them or not. And they're constantly changing. And
Right.
but there is no perfect science to it. People have been successful with and without any of these tools. And a rule of thumb is whenever a platform puts out a new feature, they're gonna hype that new feature.
Yep.
So you could just follow that. But if you want to stay in your lane, you know, and you don't want to do that, you have that prerogative. At the end of the day, it's like
Victor's blessing.
what is, but like you just gotta define what your actual goal is in it, and then just give it the best shot you got, you know, because I think it's another thing that comes from that lack of clarity,
Yeah.
where they don't know what they're really doing with their art. They're just making things because they feel the flow, but they never really design a goal for themselves. Is it like, do I
Yeah.
just want to be an artist, so I'm going to make a living doing something else, which is 100% perfectly fine? Because I kind of did
Right.
that with photography. I, like in the beginning, I was like, I'm not doing this for work because I'm gonna hate it. What if I do this for work? And
Yeah.
even though I have done it for work at this point, but
A lot of good things came from that, though.
yeah, but
was
I also transitioned very quickly away from it.
Yeah.
But I still do photography, and it's still like a passion of mine and different things like that. But there's also the thing, it's like I would like this to be the only thing I do, you know? And it's like defining how you want to live, you know?
I feel like that. Like, as much, maybe you want to clear that definition of like the only thing you want to do, because I can see
Okay.
you doing way more than just whatever we're doing at this point and whatever we're going to do next. Because
Well, that comes
as artists, we continue to create. And it's just
yeah,
like- and
but I
that's
think
what you
that's
should
where
do.
it comes to the definition of defining for yourself what that means. It's like for me, there isn't any one specific thing that I would want to do. I mean, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see the tagline is forever a creative. And then literally right after that, I've labeled literally art, audio, music, film, photography, you know, because that's how I feel about myself. Is
Right.
like I'm a creative and I just want to do by creating. And
Right.
hence, I've always been attributed to all these fields. Even in live sound engineering, some people really don't think of that as a creative field, but for me, it always was because I always felt like an extra band member.
Right.
Because I was doing
He
all
was
the.
not. No, I'm just kidding. I was just kidding. Keep
Well,
going.
I
keep
mean,
going.
like for me, the way I viewed it was I was live mixing, so
Right.
I was sculpting the sound,
No, you
and
did,
I was
bro.
adding effects. So
You
I
know
was
how
being
many
musical
times
with
I've
it.
been to a concert and it sounded like ish. I'm gonna say it like that, like trying not
Yeah,
to curse
yeah.
on this, but yeah, like no, though. Obviously, I have audio engineer friends, and being an audio engineer partly,
Yeah, yeah.
like I understand.
We share very similar backgrounds.
Yeah. I completely understand. Like when I hear a bad mix,
Yeah.
and you know, it also destroys that artist's show at that
Yeah,
at that
because
moment.
you feel like
Yeah.
that. But see, I'm coming at it from an artist. I know texts that really come at it from a very logical point of view. For them, it's like math.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
That's what you
they're
said.
very logical people, and that's okay too. But I think it's like if you're a creative and you want to do something like this, it's like you first got to define what the ideal is, and then you define the path to it. Because if your ideal is to do something creative 100% of the time, then it just might be worth going into the creative field because it's not the most lucrative for most people. It's actually a very small percentage of creative people that end up being super lucrative. But there's ways to do it, and you can live a nice life, and you can be constantly doing creative things. But if you want to do it strictly as like your pure method passion, like you want to take your time, you only want to work on what you want to work on, then at that point you might be thinking, it's like, okay, well, what is the job and career that's going to get me the amount of time off that I want and the amount of money that I want to live my life and just do what I want to do, you know?
Video production.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
But you
of
know what I
course.
mean? But like, so I'm like like, you know me, I work like, I've done
Yeah,
like
no,
5 jobs
bro.
at once and this and
Yeah.
that. But,
Bro, we're still doing 5 jobs at once. It's just
well,
like,
they're all, yeah.
yeah,
Long
hopefully.
story.
Yeah,
I mean,
hopefully.
right now all
Yeah.
I do
We'll
is
get that
this. It's
vacation,
more like 5
next year.
clients at once.
Yeah. But you know, it's also just like learning. It's a learning
Yeah.
curve, and you know, we didn't even with mentors and people helping us, like, and God, thank God for everybody that helped us to get to this point already. Like, you know, just for us to have a conversation here and all our experiences to get to here. You can't, you know, be ungrateful for those, but. I kind of lost my train of thought on that one.
It's all cool.
Yeah,
It's all cool.
yeah.
It's all cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's
Yeah.
all cool.
Yeah.
But I think that overall though, I think to really like wrap this up and really tie it back to the statement, because obviously people are listening and they're like, but how does this meet my demand on content creation? What do I do?
Oh yeah, right.
I don't
that
know.
question. Yeah, I
You
almost
know?
forgot about that.
Yeah, but you know what? I think, I think we answered it.
Yeah, with
because
the-
it's
the-
like you meet the demand, but first you got this. People
Managing
get
the expectation.
managing the expectation, and you
Sure.
also like
Yeah.
decide what the demand is, because you got this arbitrary demand number in your head that you think
Yeah.
is like what has to happen.
But you know what you should add to this though,
Yeah.
just before we wrap up, is just also for yourself
Yeah.
to manage it in a way where it's just like you gotta understand your own expectation of what you can deliver. Like if you don't know what you can deliver, like you can't be promising a lot of things, like, you know, a mansion when you haven't even built the shed yet, you know, like you gotta stay in your own britches and like learn, like, because let's just say somebody's gonna be like, I'm gonna, you know, give you a $5,000 commercial or 10,000 or whatever, doesn't even have a red cam but they only got like a cell phone or something
Yeah.
like that. Not to say you can't make a video that would be great, but it's just like that client may have something else in particular, and if you can't cut it, you gotta just make sure you know you can put it to the right people, and that
Yeah.
way you can just get back
Well,
things.
To just counter that slightly.
Yeah, go ahead.
As an opposing view, but like there's also something to be said about giving yourself a bar higher than you previously thought you can reach,
Oh, I
because
agree.
it's a great way to put yourself in a way. And the other thing is like what a lot of people don't consider is that in the creative too is like we're not all lone wolves, you know. In that sense, like you can lean on people, you can lean on mentors. There's no shame in asking for help. At the end of the day, if the client's giving you a $10,000, $5,000 project, he doesn't care who's helping you or who's doing the job. He
Right.
just wants the job.
Yeah.
Because say what could be a great experience is like you get the job, then you find somebody who can do the job for 4,000, you know, and then you sign on, you keep the 1,000, the guy gets his 4,000, and you get to learn and work with the guy, you know.
This is the hustle.
But that's true. That's the thing, though. It's
Tell
like
Victor, this is how you scheme, ladies and gentlemen, right here.
I mean-
Finesse the system.
I mean, but honest to God, that's what I've done so much. You know, it's
All
like
right, I'm gonna cut you off now, boy.
I would recommend don't tell all the secrets of the trade now.
no.
Editor, whoever it is, you can cut some
Cut
of this
this
shit.
out.
Yeah.
Eric, cut it out.
Yeah. All right, let's go to final thoughts. I'm
Okay. But honestly, like, there's ways to creatively think through these things, you know? But ultimately, when it comes to meeting the demands, you know, of content creation,
Right.
you got to define what that demand is. And you got to also understand that it is personalized, it's customizable, and it doesn't have to be this arbitrary number of like post every day. I guarantee you, if you actually look into so many different YouTubers, Instagrammers, this and that, you'll find every type of flow and rhythm there is under the sun. You know, you just got to be, I think it's really being knowing your goal, right? Like as we discussed, knowing your goal, knowing your vision, knowing how you want to do it, like knowing what works for you, knowing yourself and how you can do it, what works for you. Like D saying he needs to be around people so he can get content going. But maybe you need solitude, you know, and you need to make sure you dedicate breaks for yourself so you can keep that healthy, keep that running.
Or an editing team.
You know? Or maybe you need to partner with someone, because if you don't know yourself, you don't know that you're not the type of person to sit and edit for like an hour and bang something out. No. You're the type of person that's live in the action. Once it's done, you know? But
Such a good feeling.
so it's really knowing yourself and really having a clear defined goal, and then that determines what schedule works for you. And also don't be afraid to be consistently inconsistent.
Oh.
You know?
That's lovely. Let's end it on that, please.
Let's go.
All right. What after this,
So-
call to action. Let's tell them.
CTA.
Tell them.
Okay,
All right.
and
You
boom.
better like and subscribe. Get ready. Get ready for more. All right.
Yes,
Which
and
way
hit
are we
the-
looking? Are
hit
we
the
in middle?
bell.
We're going to
You
the
know,
middle
make sure
one?
you get
All right.
notifications,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if you have
Yeah.
any questions for us as we bring on future guests and stuff, things you want to know about the industry, about production, join us on the next Productive Productions podcast, and leave us a comment, a DM. And,
Can we do that simultaneously? On
Okay, 3, 2,
On
1.
3, I said.
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
Productive
Productive
Productions
Productions.
podcast.
Oh, we're doing the All right. Well, whatever.
Okay. And cue
Later.
logo.